Hi, my name is Kevin Siu, and today I am the opening and closing speaker for this presentation on improving the rice industry in Brunei Darussalam. I will guide you through this presentation by giving you a brief introduction and a conclusion to cover all the agendas for this presentation. So from here, this is our agendas. There are 5 main sections to this presentation, of which are 3 aspects of this presentation, which I believe will give you a great deal of information, and they are the methodology, the results, and the recommendations. So a brief introduction of this presentation. Have you ever wondered what is the current state of the rice industry in Brunei Darussalam? You must have already known that Brunei has been very dependent on the oil and gas for a very long time. Recent research has shown that as part of Wawasan Brunei 2035, improving the rice cultivation, it can be seen as an endeavor to reduce Brunei dependency on oil and gas. So it's very important, it's very vital for Brunei to be able to produce its own food as much as importing food from other countries. So in recent research, it has shown that a long-term development plan for Brunei as part of Wawasan Brunei 2035, it is shown that the government has already set targets to to help boost the agricultural output by 733.3 million Brunei dollars on the 2020. And following that is boosting the output by 2.9 billion Brunei dollars by 2035, by the end of 2035. So this is a big step. It's a very good step for Brunei to improve its rice industry and agriculture. So following on this presentation, you will later see that there is an involvement with the IBTE School of Agro-Technology and Applied Sciences to give you a better understanding and a better overview of the situation of Brunei's agriculture. So a little bit on the problem statement shows that there are challenges faced by local farmers in Brunei, and some of the common problems are the unsuitability of soil in Brunei due to its acidity. Uh, on top of it is there are challenges as well on pest control, and there's also challenges on land leveling, and there are many more, which will be covered later in this presentation. So that concludes my introduction. So now I have Din, who will be talking about the methodological part of this presentation. So I hope you enjoy. Take it away, Din.
Thank you, Kevin Siu. Here now, my name is Muhammad Nurdiauddin bin Haji Nudin, and I'll be presenting to you on the methodology section of this technical report presentation. In order to tackle the problems that we are aware or unaware of, we have decided to take 3 different steps in order to tackle such problems. The reason why is because we want to obtain a reasonable amount of data to get the best results, and so that we can give the best recommendations in tackling such problems. And in tackling such problems, these are the methods that were prepared. Number one, a group interview, a field observation, and a survey. So we did these 3 methods in this order because we want the group interview and the field observation, the results from those two, to be put in the survey so that the respondents can make use of the information to give us the best response that we expect them to give to us. And then in the first methodology, The group interview, we were invited by the IBTE School of Agro-Technology and Applied Science. The reason why we chose this school is because they have achieved the highest rice yield production in Brunei Darussalam in 2019 among all the other rice farms, and that's a great achievement. And that is why we have chosen them as a representative among all the other rice farms in Brunei Darussalam, well, due to time constraints. During this interview, there were about 3 teachers and 10 students, and we have prepared about 10 interview questions. There were some other questions, but those questions were questions that we asked spontaneously according to the flow of the interview. So the prepared questions went something like, we wanted to ask them what are the processes of rice farming, what type of irrigation system do they use, what type of fertilizers do they use, why do they think rice cultivation in Brunei is underdeveloped, and what are the problems and challenges they face as farmers here. So this whole interview was recorded using our phones, and we have collected about 40 minutes of data. And after that interview, we went ahead to the field observation. We were brought by the 3 teachers and the 10 students around the rice farm to get a live experience on how it feels like to work in a rice farm and to feel how the environment is. And we were surprised that we got a lot of knowledge in this one. They have implemented technology in their rice farming, and that's quite interesting. We could expect more than this in the future to come. And also they have also implemented an environmentally friendly alternative method in getting fertilizers, and that's also quite interesting. So after compiling such data, so from the field observation and the group interview, we have created the survey. So we created the survey using Google Forms, and we have prepared about 8 questions. So the first few questions ask about the age of the respondent, and then how much rice does the respondent consume daily, and what type of rice do they consume, and imported rice or exported rice. And then since some of our data from the field observation and from the group interview, we have also asked the question, what do they think if technology is integrated into the workload of the rice farmers? And since they know that technology is already implemented, will they consider working in the rice industry? If they say no or maybe, then why? And there was also a question in asking the general public on what they think Brunei plan to take measures in achieving their Wawasan 2025 target in boosting the agricultural output. So, due to time constraints, we only expect about 10 replies to this survey. But if we had more time, we would expect more than this. And then we have shared this through WhatsApp to our family and friends. And that's it for my presentation. After this, the presenter Kaizuran will be presenting to you the results of the methodology from the 40-minute audio footage, from the data collected from the field observation, and also the respondents' data that collected from the survey. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Kaizuran, and I'm going to present the result that we've gathered from our research. So, the first thing that I'm going to cover is the results from our interview. We have concluded that job opportunities is very big in the paddy industry, and more expert is needed in this field, as they have problem with understaffing. Technological advancement is still needed to cope with neighboring countries, and majority of the lands in Brunei are actually it's not suitable for farming condition, as preparing this unsuitable land would cost more rather than it is being profitable. Now, this is some of the pictures that we've taken from our field observation. So the first picture shown is one of the field lot in Wasan. So what what occurs in this picture is the first thing is land leveling, which is very crucial for the growth of the paddy. And then you can see there's a bushes of flower beside the lot. That is used, this flower is used to ward off any invasive species by promoting the growth of good insects. This picture shows a farmer harvesting a paddy field. Can you imagine if this person were to do one whole lot of paddy field, which is roughly estimated around 1 hectare, which is roughly estimated to 2 football fields, which is very big. And then this picture shows the rainwater reservoir that is used for paddy field irrigation system. This last picture shows the use the drone that I use for fertilizing the paddy field. This shows that there is some kind of technological advancement made by the farmers, but as you can see, it is very costly for them. So we move on to the surveys. In total, we have gathered 10 people to respond to the survey. And when asked what rice product do they consume, almost all of them mentioned baraswangi, which is an imported rice product in comparison to the local products. And this, when asked why do they choose the chosen product, most of them say it is family preferences, and second to taste. This is some of the questions that we asked to the respondent. We asked how much rice do you bought per month and their consumption of rice. In average, they bought 2 bags of rice per month, and the use of rice per day is actually depend on the number of families in their household. The second question is, what do you think about the rice industry integrating technology? All of them agree that it is a very positive move, and it does improve the quality and the quantity of the rice industry. And then we asked them if they're willing to work in the rice industry. 50% of them say maybe, with 30% of them say no, and 20% of them actually say yes. And then we asked them, why do they say maybe or no? And they mentioned about the hot weather, as Brunei are very famous for it due to its tropical climate. And then some of them actually mentioned that they are not interested in this industry. And then we asked on what can we do to achieve Brunei wawasan to boost the agricultural input. Some suggestions made are to introduce agriculture modules, which means that education in agriculture needs to be expanded. Social media promotion, which means that they need more awareness and they need to explore more technologies. That is all from me. I am going to pass the recommendation to my friend Kevin Paul.
Hi, my name is Kevin Paul. I will be talking about the recommendation section of my technical report. So we, as a team, have come up with 5 recommendations that may improve the rice industry in Brunei. What I will do in this presentation is I will briefly describe each of them, as well as talk about how it might help and the problems that may arise from it. So the first recommendation is a laser land leveling system. Now, here is a diagram of the system itself. Now, it has a few components. The first one is the laser transmitter. Now, this transmitter sends out laser beams, which will then be received by the laser receiver, which is at the back of the tractor. Now, what this forms is a laser line, which sort of acts like a reference point. Now, in any case where the laser line is not aligned, This receiver will send signal to the control panel, which will then control the hydraulic valve, which will also control the drag bucket. Now, this drag bucket is responsible for scooping up or filling soil onto the ground when it needs leveling. This ensures that the land has consistent leveling throughout. And why we want a consistent leveling and even level of land is because we want the crops to grow at an equal rate, and having an even land allows the crops to receive an even distribution of water as well as nutrients. However, the problem is this equipment is very expensive, especially when farming on a very small scale. So Brunei has to find a way to get a cheaper option of this equipment or to rent it from other countries or companies. The second one is we have solar powered irrigation system. Now, the solar powered irrigation system uses photovoltaic technology in which it converts energy from the sun into electrical energy to power the pumps, the irrigation system. Why we want this is because it is a source of green energy. It's a renewable source of energy and does not contribute to greenhouse gases, which will affect global warming as well as climate change. However, this equipment is heavily dependent on the sun, so if there is no sunlight, it will not work to its maximum potential. The third one we have is smart farming. Smart farming is a concept that heavily relies on sensors and the internet to work. Now, for example, you can place the sensors onto the soil to measure its conditions, such as its acidity or water level. This sensor collects this data, sends it over the internet into farmers' smartphone or into their computer, where they can view the conditions in real time. Now, this saves a lot of time, as the farmer does not have to go out and manually measure them himself or herself. And this way, the farming process is a lot more efficient and there is a lot more productivity. However, this is a very new concept and relies heavily on the internet, so in areas where connection is poor, this would not work very well, and it uses a lot of capital as well. The fourth recommendation is called land reclamation. Land reclamation is the process of making new lands by filling oceans, ponds, or lakes with soil, sand, or cement, and using these lands as a farmland. This also creates job opportunities for the local people. Now, here is a map of Singapore, and the red areas indicate the areas that were formed from this process. Now, Singapore is smaller than Brunei, and hence they are adopting this process to expand their land. Brunei can do the same, however, there are problems such as they need a high capital as well as time. Now, this will also disrupt ports as well as destroy the marine life. So these things have to be taken into account before Brunei can implement it. Finally, we have promoting agriculture in education. The reason for this is in an interview it was mentioned that Brunei lacks manpower as well as research. How we can do this is we can include it as part of the education system. We can put it as a school subject or as a module in universities, or as well as a research module in universities. That way people will do more research and are educated on why agriculture is important and how agriculture can help with food security. We can also send people out to conferences or conventions. This way, this would allow them to learn from other countries about their farming methods and how we can adopt them in Brunei. So to recap, most of the time the problems that has to be considered is the capital. All these recommendations cost a lot of money, and Brunei has to consider these before attempting to adopt them. Now that is all from me, and I will pass it on to Kevin Siu for the conclusion. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. So to finally conclude this presentation, I'd like to give a little bit of summary. So At the start of this presentation, I've mentioned how important or how vital it is for Brunei to be able to self-sustain itself more than importing goods from other countries, especially if we're talking about rice import. So the methodology was explained covering the group interviews, surveys, and the field observations that we've all went through. And this resulted in some facts in our research, and it was shown that most Bruneians actually prefer imported rice rather than the local rice itself. There's also not many experts in this field, and there is also a research saying that Brunei's land is actually not naturally built for crop growing. So this leaves a lot of gap for potential improvements and definitely a lot of opportunities and a lot to explore for Brunei to reach its target. So overall, there's a lot of mentions about the use of technology. So technology is definitely being implemented into this uh, industry. So there's also drones were involved. There were also some irrigations involved, and there were a lot of machineries also involved. So we see a lot of mechanical engineering, a lot of chemical engineering, even ecological engineering is also involved in this field. So overall, I like to say that as much as improvement goes, Brunei definitely has a lot to go for. But the most important tool to any success is actually the synchrony efforts of teamwork towards the workings. And the research done on our end shows that Brunei is definitely going in the right direction. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you. Have a nice day.